Research has shown that 9 out of 10 sales calls end without the sales professional formally asking for the order even once. In fact, in my years of sales training working with thousands of sales professionals, I found that most sales presentations end something like this. So, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, based on everything we've talked about here today, here's a few options. What do you think?
What do I think? I think I'm going to think about it.
Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a lame way to end a sales presentation, because at that point you end up handing off your business card and you start waiting for a call next week that's never going to come. You got to get in the habit of asking for the order, and I recommend that you use the 4 most powerful words in sales. Will you trust me? It reminds me of this time I was doing a sales training event out in California. We were talking about this will you trust me and how you have to always ask for the order. Well, in the audience was a commercial air conditioning salesman. And that afternoon, after the training, he actually had a sales call. So he goes out on the sales call. He's on the top of this building, walking around this huge air conditioning unit with the building owner. And they were talking about what would need to be done, a crane would have to come in, et cetera, et cetera. And at one point in the presentation, the building owner says, well, let me talk to my partner and I'll get back with you next week. And like he has 1,000 times, he just handed off his card and said, okay, well, call me next week. But he walks to the edge of the building and he gets to the ladder. Just as he starts to climb down the ladder, he remembers our discussion from earlier that day. He remembers, will you trust me? So he stops and he looks up at the building owner who's up there in the building and he says, sir, will you just trust me with this? The building owner looks down at him and says, you know what, just take care of it for me. The next morning in training, this gentleman comes up to me and he says, Weldon, I damn near fell off my ladder. I couldn't believe he said yes. And then I realized how many millions of dollars I was leaving on rooftops all over California because I just wasn't asking. So the biggest challenge facing all sales professionals is failing to ask for the order at least once. Now you know how to end your presentation the way you should, using those 4 powerful words. Will you trust me?